my live-ish family? Good morning. Heading down to have a meeting with a friend of mine, and he's invited a mentee of his that is getting into the consulting world. So happy to go have that meeting this morning and talk all things consulting. Primarily business development. I mean, that's what I really specialize in and what I really enjoy. So excited to have that meeting this morning. Then gonna go get some work done for MAP, Midwest Automotive Partners. Got my gear on today. Looks super good. Had some setbacks on that with the properties, with zoning, etc., which I won't get into that today. I'll do that on my next video. Sticking and moving on that. Things come up and you just stick and move. And so that leads me to the topic of the day, which is yes and. So I hear people use this a lot, and it never felt right. Like even when I was doing the trainings on it, and I would read about it, it didn't sit right with me in some of the ways that people were coaching it. So the whole point of yes and is moving something forward, moving a conversation forward, moving an objective forward, an idea forward, a task forward, an action forward, whatever it may be, is always having that mindset of being able to move something forward, not bringing it to a stop. What can we do to move this thing forward is the mentality. And that's the simplest way that I can explain yes and. And I came to this realization the other day that, I didn't really understand yes and. And for many, many years, over a decade since I really started, absorbing the yes and hearing more about it, I didn't really understand it. And in the last engagement I was in, the coaches were training yes and. But most people don't really know how to explain it. And so even in that scenario with a coach who people are paying, tens of thousands of dollars a month for, they didn't even explain it that well, at least to me. Like I wasn't perceiving it well. And so I can assume that others weren't absorbing it and retaining it and comprehending really what yes and is, because everybody wants to say and, right? And that's not yes and, right? So the and is just to give the method to it, right? And is what's next. So and we're going to do this, or and this is a possibility, and this is also something good about this, or and this is also a thing that I learned from this. So and in that aspect is where the yes and comes from, and it actually comes from improv, and it's just moving a scene forward. That's all that it is. So when people are improving and someone comes up with a scenario, the yes and, they don't say yes and they can, but that kind of gets confusing in my opinion. But what they'll do is they'll bring up another scenario to move it forward or change the direction of the scene if it feels like it's going nowhere, and they will improvise another scenario or an additional scenario so that they can move forward in that conversation. And so where I really started to understand yes and was the other day with my son. And, I'm thinking about all the schedules that we have. My wife is a super planner. She's great at it. I love it. It's one of the main reasons I married her. She's very organized and disciplined in that respect. However, she will not do something if the plan doesn't sit in her head and it doesn't seem like it's been planned out enough so that she can, cover all the bases, make sure we have all the things, etc., or we have the right amount of time, or what if this happens, and what if that happens. And so this is where yes and comes in from, in my perspective, from the family life. We have so many things going on and that come at us in life, and schedules and events that we need to go to, and responsibilities that we need to attend to, and chores that we need to attend to, and yada, yada, yada. And a lot of times we just overthink those things and think, oh, well, I got to do all these things, so I don't have time to do this. And specifically, it was in relation to working out, right? So my wife has been wanting to work out more, and I keep hearing the statement, Like, well, I got to do this, or, oh, well, Ari has to go take a nap, or, I don't have enough time to do this because I need to go do this. Yes, I understand that you need to do these things, and right after that, we can go do this, right? So that's where the yes and comes in. And let's go do this, and then we can do that. Or let's go do all these things, and let's do that. So in addition to, like, that's the possibility, and that's the openness of being unobstructed by limitations. And when we limit ourselves to one, well, we can only do these things, then we will only do certain things, right? We won't allow in for the other things, the possibility of being able to do all the things, right? And so yes and conversations come in a lot in life where, you say, oh, well, I'm not going to stop at the store. I don't have enough time. And you spend 10 minutes figuring out whether you're going to go into the store or not go to the store, and by the time you decide that, you've already passed the store, and now you're not going to the store, and you have this empty feeling in your mind and yourself that says, man, I didn't accomplish that thing. Now I'm going to have to put that off. And a week goes by, and a month goes by, and a year goes by, and you never do that thing, but it's always in the back of your mind because you were like, I should have went into the store that day. I needed to get that thing. So the yes and conversation comes in, for me, profoundly with children, because children are another person that you have to think beyond yourself. You have to think of all the things for the child, because they not necessarily can think for themselves. And so yes and comes into play a lot here. When my son the other day was like, Daddy, I want to come with you, and I'm like, man, I need to go work out. And all the things started popping up in my head that, oh man, like, well, what if he wants to get out and walk? What if he wants to stop? What if he cries? What if we need to change his diaper? Like, what if he needs food? Like, all these things started popping in my head, why it wasn't a good reason to take my son with me running. And then I thought, no, we are 100% going to run together. We're going to go to the park together, and I'm going to run as much as I can. And if I got to walk, at least I did the thing, and I got to do it with you. So I made sure all his bags were packed, and I got the stroller, and I put him in the stroller. And you know what? For 35 minutes, unencumbered, I ran. We walked a little bit. We got to see the trees, and I got to have time with my son, and I got that workout done, and I felt better that I didn't leave him at home because I just wanted to be unobstructed in the mentality that I had that was clear. And instead of inviting something else in to my reality and my world to give me something else to think about or another challenge to navigate, I just said, let's just do it and I'll figure it out. And that is yes and. So again, move things forward and stop limiting yourselves by thinking about all the things that aren't real. Just do the freaking thing and figure it out. You are more than capable to figure it out. And the best way to learn from these scenarios is that when you do a thing and you don't know what's happening and you just do it, one, you get more comfortable just being in any situation. But two, you learn so much more by doing a thing without overthinking all the things that you need to have done before you do it. The beauty of experience is the learning, because if you don't try to control the experience, you just openly go into a situation and you are open to whatever comes to you, and you learn so much more, and you feel so much more confident in learning. So I'm going to encourage all of you today to fucking say yes and stop limiting yourself to, oh, I have to do this and I have to do that. Just fucking do it. Even if you have to crawl through it, walk through it. I used to tell people all the time, in the morning, I wanted to work out every single day. And so I was like, I'm going to work out every single day. And man, it was fucking hard. I was exhausted. I was working long hours. I had all these things to do and all this shit that was going to be done. And so I was conserving energy. I would just throw my body on the floor, literally roll off the bed and just let it smack into the floor, hoping that I would get some exhilaration from that to just keep moving forward. And then I would just do one more thing and one more thing. And then I would push my body off the floor because it's like, this is nonsense. Why am I sleeping on the floor? Why am I laying on the floor? What the fuck am I doing here? I'm already out of bed. I got to go. So then I would get up, and then I started graduating into going into cold showers and, running in place until my mind just woke up, and then I did the positive affirmations where I was like, you know what, you're doing good, man. This is one thing, man. 5 minutes ago you were in bed, and now your heart rate's up to 145. Like, you're moving and grooving. And so those are the yes and conversations that you need to be having with yourself. You need to know that you are more than capable to handle all the things in the day times 1,000. You have the energy, you have the strength, you have the willpower, you have the will ability, you have the intelligence. You are a very strong person. And until you allow yourself to be strong, you will continue to be weak to your thoughts and all the things you say you have to do that keep you from doing the things that you want to do. So just fucking do it. Say yes and today. Do the shit that you don't want to do. Just do it. Don't overthink it. Just get into it. Even if it feels embarrassing, even if it feels uncomfortable, who gives a shit? Because the result will be after 10 minutes of doing the thing, you'll be like, fuck, I actually did the thing. Or I got into the thing. I went way farther than I thought I was going to do. And you'll have another experience that you can embrace in your life and tell others and share others and empower others to move forward. Thank you guys all for jumping on. I think this was a record day for people jumping on and actually staying on for a while. I do these pretty long-winded because I don't think normal human interaction and good communication is a soundbite. So fuck that 15 seconds at 30 seconds and all the TikToks and all that bullshit. All that shit's bullshit. Do your research. You need to be around people who will sit and have a 30-minute conversation with you and give you more perspective on what a thing really is than just a fucking soundbite. Experience in conversations are the best way to learn. So get into them, have plenty of them, have long ones, absorb them, listen, and then take action on them. Stay live-ish, guys, and yes, the fuck and out of today.